All right, let's finish up the collector series with the collection. Only two movies. I know a lot of people are. We're going to be talking spoilers here, obviously. I know a lot of people are wanting a third, and while I think a third is possible, I mean, I don't know if they'll do it now, but I like thinking that Arkin got him and abused him and killed him. Like, this end is the finale for me. Like, I like the ending of this. Like, we get the reverse ending of the first one. Arkin is thrown in the trunk. He's screaming no. He's slamming the fucking thing down on him. End. And then you wonder what the fate of Arkin was. This gets flipped. Arkin brings in the trunk, throws the collector in, smashes the lid down on him, and he says that he's going to make him feel everything he felt, and then he's going to kill him. And I absolutely believe him. So, I think this is the end. I think the collector died. I think Arkin killed him. So I don't need a third. I think a third is just because we want another awesome movie, you know? But as far as the story goes, for me, that was it. So I like how this ends. And I'm good with that. Because I wouldn't want them, like if they brought a third one, let's just say we bring a third one. I would think in order for the third one to work, either A, you'd have to have him somehow get away from Arkin and kill him, or Arkin would just be chasing him down for another film to kill him again. Like, maybe people just want to see his death on screen or whatever, but as I said, I think it's just greed, which I'm a sequel fan. I mean, I'll watch 10 things from a series, but I don't know, just to think of like the story they'd have to come up with to make a third would mean that he would escape. And I don't like the idea that he got away from Arkin. I'm not on board with Arkin's plan fucking up there. I mean, you could have the police raid the place right in that moment when Arkin's locking him in the trunk and he was like, no, and like taking him away to jail, and then he breaks it. Like, he doesn't actually have to break out and kill Arkin or anything. There's ways around it. But I just like to think that Arkin, you know, got the best of him. Tortured him and he killed him. Like, is what this fucking guy deserves. So, anyways, let's talk about the movie itself. So, this movie has Shooter McGavin in it. Can anyone see that dude and not think Shooter? Like, anybody? I'm sure there are some people out there that aren't Happy Gilmore fans, but growing up in the 90s as a high school student in the late 90s, you know, this is back when Adam Sandler was king. Like, there was a time when Adam Sandler was the shit. I know a lot of people shit on him now. But Adam Sandler movies, Billy Madison and that, and Big Daddy and stuff, they were amazing. They were so funny. They were like the best comedies out at the time. And Happy Gilmore, because I grew up playing hockey, was such a big deal to me. So I can never not see Christopher McDonald and not see Shooter McGavin. One thing that annoyed me about this, and I'm sure there's a legitimate reason, but them switching the actress for Lisa, the wife from the first one. Not sure why. As I said, I'm sure there's some reason. Actress didn't want to come back, or there was a schedule conflict, or they didn't like her on set, so they got rid of her, or there's so many different reasons it could be. But I'm one of those people where I have a very hard time with recasting. You know, there's been very few times where I've ever been like fine with recasting a part in a film. Like, there's so many films where the recasting stands out so much for me. The Dark Knight being one of those big ones where it's just like, that's not Rachel. Like, I don't know. Other examples, I suppose, is like when someone dies, you know, like Richard Attenborough or whatever, and then Michael Gambon came in for Dumbledore in Harry Potter or whatever. Like, he's dead. And I actually prefer the second one. But anyways, we're not here to talk about fucking Harry Potter. Recasting for me is always tough. I think probably one of the most famous ones is Julianne Moore in Hannibal. I can't even believe they did that, to be honest. Because that's such an iconic character and such an iconic, film. Doing a sequel, which, to be fair, a lot of people don't even know that Silence of the Lambs is a sequel and that they replaced Brian Cox with Anthony Hopkins for the sequel. So that's a big changeover. Okay, I'm getting off track here. I'm just talking about... all right. So the actress here that plays the main character, I am a big fan of girls with short hair. So she is gorgeous. She reminds me a lot of, in very certain sequences, not throughout the whole film, but there's certain scenes, especially when she's like crying and she like sees her protector guy, the guy who works for her dad, and they finally meet and she's like hugging him and she's so like crying and everything. She looks a lot like Natalie Portman when she had her hair super short, but only in those instances. Her dad and her get into this car wreck in the beginning. And she has this bond with her dad, but her dad seems to be pretty crippled, but he seems, he obviously is super rich. Which at the end of this movie, when he realizes that Arkin is probably, the main reason, or if not one of the main reasons that his daughter survived, I'm going to guess that whatever financial troubles that Arkin was in before are going to be rectified. I like to believe that Arkin took over that dude's job now that he's dead and that guy trusts him with his daughter's life and Arkin needs money and this guy's well off and whatever. I just like to believe that Arkin took that guy's position and used the resources from that position to find the guy that harmed that guy's daughter. Like, I'm sure he was probably contracted for it. Like, how would you like to go and kill this dude that did this to you because I want you to get vengeance for what was done to my daughter and to my friend? That guy's probably his friend as well, and he was very close to the daughter, so that was a friend of the family's. So I believe that he commissioned that he was somehow involved in the, the revenge. So there's a lot of things I like to fill in my head, but I don't need a third movie to do it for me. But those are the things that I like to believe. So yeah, she goes to this party. She sees that her boyfriend's there cheating. So she freaks out. She goes upstairs. She finds the trunk. Yet again, the trunk just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why does he need to bring Arkin? He doesn't. It's his own sick little game, and it just seems silly to me. It's completely pointless. It makes for fun visuals and whatnot, but if I think of it from like a story standpoint, I'm just like, I don't understand the purpose of him bringing one person, like the last person that he brought, because he only takes one, right? He always takes one. I guess it could be he always takes at least one, because in what we know, he brings the last victim from the last place he came from. Because we see him break into that dude in his wife's house. Then he's at the next house. Then he takes Arkin and he brings him to that dance party. Okay, so what we know of the Collector is that he brings the last victim and that he always takes one. So how does he have literally like 50 to 100 people back at his little domain? He has like, no shit, probably 50 to we'll say 50 dead bodies strewn throughout his little hideout. Then he has like all these zombie type creatures that have had their tongues cut out, and he's got face masks on them, and he's injected them with these drugs so that they'll lose their minds and attack people. They're like attack dogs, because he has an attack dog in the first one and he has attack people in this one. Is he just like also grabbing other people that we don't know of? Is there only certain locations that he goes and only takes one, and then he goes out and he grabs like homeless people or something on the other time? Because he seems to have a lot of homeless people that are around that area. But you start, I don't know. I know I'm overthinking it as always, but there's so many people there, and what we know of him just doesn't add up to that. This dude must have killed 1,000 people. Like, he kills at least, like, I don't know, 200 people in this movie. Like that dance floor scene. So she goes up there, she opens the trunk, which does this huge, elaborate trap. There's like all these cords that are going through the floorboards and all this. And then there's a huge, rotating, spinning, freaking death machine that's at the top of the dance floor. And it's coming and it's cutting everyone down, which is so ridiculously over the top elaborate that I can't help but laugh and be like, whatever, it's a movie, like, who cares? I'm not going to overthink this. I don't know how the hell that got up there. No one noticed that owns the place. Although, this was a place you had to go to in the back alley of some place. You had to use a password to get in. Maybe this was the only night that place was up. It clearly isn't like an establishment. It's not like a bar where everyone goes every night, and it's like, how the hell did he put this up during business hours? Like, did he have to come in late at night? Like, this is like a one-time shop. Like, this is we'll party here tonight, and then the next week it'll be over across town in another abandoned location. So he must have got a tip of some sort that this party was going to take place here. So he spent, X amount of time setting up death traps that no one found. Man, I really overthink everything, don't I? I like when she finds the boyfriend kissing another girl. He just looks at her and he just shrugs it off. That is some cold shit, man. And then she punches him in the face, and the girlfriend gives him a big fuck you, and that's really that. It's funny because I like how, yet again, with Dunstan and Melton, they're writing, they set things up that you think are gonna matter. Like the boyfriend cheating, and the friend of the girl, or the brother of the girlfriend who wants to hit on her, and the friend in their's relationship and all that. Like, you think that's all going to go somewhere. You think maybe he'll take all of them back, and then they're going to have relationship drama, and they're going to have this guy's going to be going after her throughout the movie, and then maybe he'll get her at the end because he saved her or something. No, they just die. No, 2 minutes into the movie, they're just dead. They just get cut down. They get squashed. They get whatever. I just thought it was hilarious. Oh, okay, and they're dead. Let's just set all that up for no reason. Same thing with the dad. I think that's just to show that the dad loves the daughter and they have this relationship. But them getting in a car wreck in the beginning, it was really only to show that the bodyguard saved her from the wreck. And so that it shows how bad and desperately he wants to get her. So it's just a little quick thing, but it's not exactly necessary towards the film. It's just itty bitty teeny little bit of character development. So they're really just here to pack on the carnage. As I said, he does the big thing, and then he does the crush, which just does it all slow, and they just have to scream and get lower and lower and lower. Oh my God. And we watch the girl's head get crushed. It's gnarly. And he's just sitting there just looking at the girl as he's coming down. He just gets off on killing people, I guess. And that's just it. He likes the thrill of killing people, but ultimately what he wants is he's looking for the perfect person, whatever that may be, to add pieces to his artwork. This guy's an artist, and he uses human bones and human remains as, added pieces to his constructs, which you kind of get to see one a little bit here in the background, which those art pieces are pretty crazy looking. Reminds me a little bit of the TV show Hannibal. They have such elaborate, awesome aftermath sequences. The best ones I've ever seen. They're super artistic. They're screwed up. Obviously, they're really messed up, but they're really cool stuff. This is clearly not the same actor who played the collector in the first one. How he has hair all of a sudden, I don't know how long after this first one it's supposed to be, but he's long enough for him to grow his hair much longer. He was completely bald in the last one, and now he has hair. So is there multiple collectors? Could they say that, like, that this is a different guy? I mean, I guess that's possible, right? Another thing that's kind of just like unexplained is Arkin has to get out by midnight to try to get the money to his wife. And like now his wife's fine and his wife's not even mad or whatever when she shows up at the hospital. Like in the first one, she's like, "Don't even touch me. Do you have the money? Like the loan sharks need it. They're going to come after me." And he's trying to get at his daughter and all this. And it's like, that's just done away with. I don't even think he asks about his daughter once. Like he's just really more concerned with his wife. And it's like, what happened with the loan sharks? Did they kill our daughter? Did they hurt you? Like, that's not even brought up at all. It is completely outright ignored. All right, I got to switch in. I thought I could bear the heat, but I just could not. I apologize. I know. This is becoming quite the annoyance, but it is what it is. But yeah, that loan shark thing, completely unaddressed, which I thought was really silly. Just like, okay, that's like the whole point of the first movie. That is literally like the whole reason Arkin goes in that night. The whole reason that he ends up intruding on the collector's plan. Like Arkin was never part of that plan. He comes in there and fucks his plan up because he had to do that night. He had to get out of there at midnight. There's such a time crunch. When he gets out, it's like, what time is it? It's like just before midnight. He's like, I made it. Collector takes him. Nothing happens. It completely takes away from the importance of the first movie. Like, now when I watch the first movie, after have seen this, I'm like, well, I mean, he doesn't really need to get there. Nothing's going to happen to her. Although the kid isn't addressed. Maybe they just killed the kid. We don't even see the kid. So I thought that was very weird and honestly, some bad writing. I don't usually cite these guys for bad writing, but I don't even know if I should say bad writing as I should say just outright lazy writing when it comes to continuity. And I know these guys care about continuity and can do continuity well because Saw 4 through 7 has amazing continuity to it, considering 1 through 3 are addressed so heavily and whatnot. So I know they have the capabilities and I know that they can care very much so. So for all these things to just be outright ignored, I don't know. Unless I missed some scene or unless I missed some line of dialogue, please remind me if I missed it, where the wife was like, "Oh, no, don't worry, I got the money taken care of." But as I said, at the end of this movie, I like to believe that whatever financial issues that they had, and maybe they gave her a pass because her husband went missing. Doesn't sound like loan sharks to me, although I've never really dealt with one. I'm only going off of what I know of loan sharks in movies, which I've seen loan sharks in tons of movies, but who knows how they are in real life. But this is a movie, right? All right. And as I said, their relationship is so different now. Like, they're like all in love. And in the first one, I always took in the first one that they were separated. Because his daughter seems to be like, "Oh, hi, Daddy." Like she hasn't seen him in a while. And the girl's just like has no interest in seeing him. It's like, where's the fucking money? Like, I don't know. It never suggested to me they were together still. It seemed like an ex-wife and the kid that was there. I don't know. But yeah, their relationship is drastically different. But he's on his, he was abused and he's all sitting there in a hospital looking pathetic. So maybe that, made her forget her hatred for him for a minute. I don't know. I do like when the guys come in and they're like, "We're not the cops. Like, we assembled a team. We are going to go we are going to go find this guy and we're going to kill him." And Arkin gets a smile on his face like, "Oh, yes. They're sending in a trained team to go take this guy out." Which, yet again, we're talking about taking a different spin on what normally would be a slasher movie. A slasher movie is usually a bunch of unprepared teenagers who can't defend themselves. They're usually too drunk or they have no experience or they're, whatever. They are no match. But in these movies, Arkin is definitely a worthy opponent, as is this team of soldiers, mercenaries, to go take him out. So it's a completely different spin on the slasher genre, because this is for all intents and purposes, a slasher film, as is the first one. This one's a little more grandiose than the other one, for sure. But the first one's like a home invasion slasher movie, and this one is, it's a slasher movie. It's just much bigger and larger in scale. And then, yeah, he has the marks on his arms. All of a sudden, he became freaking Brian Mills, right? Isn't that his name from Taken? He uses the little marks on his arms and whatnot. I think he does that in like the second Taken, if I remember correctly, which might actually have been after this movie. So maybe they stole it from that. I don't know. He does do that in that, right? I'm remembering that correctly. But I thought that was pretty cool. And so this takes place in an abandoned hotel called the Hotel Argento. If you can't figure out that nod, I don't know what to tell you. The girl uses her little bra strap to get out. I think that's what that is, but she's wearing a bra in it. I don't know. She has a second bra. Tits don't look that big. Maybe it was just clothes in there. Maybe I missed it. Yeah, the collector has hair now. I don't get that. How long's it been? Makes people already said that. Somebody says, like, they come down and they're like, what's wrong? And he's like, help me. I didn't make the collection. So now we do know this collector speaks, because at the very end of the movie, when Arkin, because he's like, what are you going to do to me? Whatever. So he does speak. We do know that. So is he telling these people while he's doing these things to him? Like, because that blonde chick, whatever her name is, I think I wrote it down somewhere here. Doesn't really matter, because I don't think they even say it more than once. The blonde chick who like wants to win his affection and turns on them and whatever, the chick they find inside. She seems to be pretty savvy on what's going on in there. So, and the other guy is as well. So I have to believe that there is something else going on in there that we haven't seen, where he's talking to them and telling them that they're up for a collection. Like, they're trying to make the cut, or they're going to get cut. Like, there has to be some kind of version of that going on, because they seem to be very, very aware of what's going on around. And I don't feel like you could just put that together being nailed to a wall. Like, he's got a collection. Like, something has to be telling them this. So it makes me wonder, is he having conversations with them? Like, once he collects them, did he with Arkin? I don't know. That's interesting. He also doesn't wear a mask in certain areas, and I'm guessing those people that are in there saw him without a mask. Now, Arkin saw him without a mask in the first movie. He knocked his mask off right before he knocked him out. So he did see his face. So when Arkin goes to look for him at the end, at least, I mean, unless he forgot, because he got knocked out right after he saw it, so it's possible, but I think he knew who he was looking for. So when he went to look for entomologists in the area, he went through the pictures and was like, there's the guy I remember. And Abby, there was her name. Abby wants to win. She wants to be part of the collection. It's like, do you not know how the collection works? You die to get in the collection, but maybe she thinks it's so beautifully artistic that she wants to make that art piece. She knows she's not making it out of their lives, so she might as well be part of a beautiful piece of art, like those bodies exhibits that they do. Maybe she wants to be a part of that. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't seem to fare well for people who make it into the collection, so I'm not sure why she wants to be in it so badly. Maybe she's in love with him. Maybe she's got like Stockholm syndrome. She's fallen in love. That happens a lot, actually, supposedly. Percentage-wise, it's way higher than you would think. He falls into this huge pit of body parts. This movie just goes above and beyond with the gore and the blood and all that, which for me is awesome. That's what I want to see. So yeah, cool for me. And as I said, he killed like 1,000 people. It's ridiculous how many people he's done. He's like an evil action hero, this collector. Like, he jumps down, he like hooks a guy through the thing, he brings it down. He comes down, he knife fights with the other dude. He sticks the other dude through the mouth. Like, this guy is like a trained soldier who just happens to be on the wrong side of things. Like, you see films where the anti-hero in the film is doing stuff like this, like hooking a guy and bringing him down, then fighting other dudes, then cutting the weight, the counterweight, and then putting himself back up into the rafters and stuff like that. You see heroes do that all the time in movies, like more violent movies. But this guy is like the opposite of this. He is the main antagonist. So I thought it was funny when he was coming down. He came down like Batman, but he's not the hero, obviously. We get a Maniac homage. All of the mannequins with like toupees and hair pieces and maybe even bloody scalps put on their heads before that guy gets the room blown up around him. Arkin shoots a bum. He has 2 shots, shoots a bum, waits for the cops to come, and then shoots at them. That was awesome. So smart. So smart. Sucks that guy has to get shot. And a handgun at that distance, hitting somewhere where it's not going to kill that guy? Yeah, right. You are not that good of an aim. No, like, I don't know how. That's a far distance for a little freaking short little gun like that. No way. He has to re-break his arm to get the lock undone. You would think the collector who has all of these gadgets and uses like 6 locks inside someone's house and all that would have better locks on his cage than something that you could just move forward with an implement that you found somewhere in the cage. Like, that's ridiculous to me. That is just silly as shit. And then he lights like a long fuse, like some fucking Looney Tunes or like some kind of like Bond villain or something, where he's like, I'm going to light a fuse that's going to take an hour to blow this place up and give you guys ample time to go and solve this super easy little thing. He knows he has a knife because he's trying to stab him with it through there. So he knows he has a longer implement that could help get that. Like, that's stupid. That's lazy writing yet again. Then Lucello, who's the bodyguard or whatever, he comes out, which is like an homage to some character name from like an Argento movie, I think, or something like that. But anyways, he comes back and they have their big knife fight. And you think like he's going to be the hero, but no, Collector just beats his ass. So him coming back is really just to save Arkin in that moment, because Arkin's knocked out. And then Arkin comes back and somehow all of a sudden takes him out with one arm. Like, he can't beat him. This guy comes in, this trained freaking mercenary comes in, knife fights him, can't beat him. And then Arkin's like, you know what? I got this with one arm. And I have like a concussion and all these injuries all over my body. Like, I got this. But hey, man, never underestimate rage. Rage is no joke. There's a huge difference between fighting someone who's just fighting to fight and a guy who wants to beat you out of anger and hatred. That's completely different fights. You will see a completely different person. He throws him down the chute with the bodies and then lights it on fire with him, but somehow he gets out of there fine. He seems to have no burns at the end anywhere on his body, so that mask must be flame retardant. And then Arkin like gives up and he's standing there and the girl takes a pipe and she just breaks open all of the stuff, which is really smart of her to do. Like, it was like, this place is on fire, we're fucked. And he's just like, I can't make it across, I'm screwed. And it's like, everyone's been rescuing you this entire time. It's time for you to step up and help. And she does in a big way. Saves Arkin's life, takes him out. And yeah, I think I've said everything else. Oh, Arkin gets a knife right through the cheek, right through his mouth, out the other side. He doesn't even fucking flinch. He is so full of rage and anger in that moment. Usually when someone would do that in a movie, it would be enough to like throw him off or whatever. Arkin's just like, get that weak shit out of here. I am busy beating the fuck out of you. So yeah, that's it. Okay, I've already talked about this way too long. But that was a lot of fun. There's so many things I want to talk about I didn't realize I wanted to talk about. But there you go. All right, guys. Oh, I'm glad I came in. I got to get to work. Bye.